The Atlantic Ocean is never truly silent. Beneath this wild sea, even the smallest fish can sense the approach of giants. Every current in this ocean carries life, and every fish moving through this sea becomes part of a much larger story. From above, the ocean may look endless. From within the sea, every layer hides movement, hunger, and power. In the Atlantic Ocean, fish do not move without reason. A sudden change in the sea can mean something enormous is nearby. The ocean gives warnings before it reveals its rulers. First the fish turn, then the water changes. Some giants of the Atlantic Ocean are felt long before they are seen, moving beneath the fish like darkness with a heartbeat. Below the fish, a giant crosses the ocean in silence, large enough to turn the sea around it into shadow. This is one of the great giants of the Atlantic Ocean, a living force moving through the sea with effortless power. In this ocean, the smallest fish and the largest giants are connected by the same moving sea. But this whale is only the first sign. Deeper in the Atlantic Ocean, more giants are waiting beneath the fish. The Atlantic Ocean reveals its giants slowly, through shadows, movement, and the nervous turning of fish. In this sea, the fish often know what is coming before the camera can see it. The blue whale is not a hunter of fish, yet its presence can make the entire ocean feel smaller. The Atlantic Ocean can build giants from invisible life, turning plankton and fish-filled waters into unimaginable scale. Beside this giant, every fish becomes a measure of scale, showing how vast life in the ocean can become. One movement from a giant tail can shift the water around the fish and reshape the sea behind it. The Atlantic Ocean is a moving world, and every fish follows pathways carved by currents and giants. The farther the fish travel through this sea, the more the ocean begins to fill with hidden bodies. The humpback brings a different kind of power to the Atlantic Ocean, graceful, intelligent, and impossible to ignore. In this ocean, giants do not only rule by fear. Some rule by presence, memory, and the rhythm of the sea. In the Atlantic Ocean, even gentle giants can change the movement of every fish around them. The ocean remembers every movement, from the flicker of a fish to the sweep of a whale's wing-like fins. Above them, the sea is brighter, but the Atlantic Ocean still hides shadows beneath the fish. When a giant turns away, the fish move on, but the ocean does not become safer. The Atlantic Ocean changes slowly, guiding every fish from beauty toward mystery. Along the edges of the sea, fish gather where currents strike stone, and giants often follow the food. The fish feel the water change again, and the Atlantic Ocean prepares to reveal another enormous body.
The basking shark looks terrifying in the ocean, but the fish around it face no teeth built for attack.
In this sea, a giant can appear monstrous, yet survive by feeding on life smaller than any fish. The Atlantic Ocean keeps moving, and with the fish, the journey now drifts toward a darker unknown. The Atlantic Ocean never stays still. Every fish that leaves the light may be entering the path of something greater. Beyond the feeding grounds, the ocean grows colder, and the fish begin to move with greater caution.
In the Atlantic Ocean, fish often gather close when the sea below them feels too empty.
Here, the ocean falls away into depth, and the fish hover at the border between light and darkness. The edge of the sea is alive with fish, but below this wall, the Atlantic Ocean belongs to deeper giants.
A shadow below the fish is enough to change the rhythm of the entire ocean.
The fish do not wait to understand the danger. In this ocean, instinct moves faster than sight. Not every giant of the Atlantic Ocean rises gently. Some patrol the sea as silent hunters. The ocean hides its hunters well, giving the fish only shape, pressure, and a feeling of pursuit. The fish have left one shadow behind, but in the Atlantic Ocean, every escape leads toward another mystery. The fish have escaped one shadow, but the Atlantic Ocean is too vast to offer safety for long. Every layer of this ocean carries a warning, and every fish must read the sea before it is too late. In the Atlantic Ocean, small fish gather together because the sea around them is filled with unseen decisions. Below the fish, the ocean begins to glow with lives adapted to darkness. This is where the Atlantic Ocean begins to change from a blue wilderness into a black kingdom. Some giants do not rise from the deep ocean. They dive into it, leaving the fish behind in the fading light. The sperm whale is a giant of the Atlantic Ocean, built to leave the bright sea and enter the abyss. Above, the fish remain in the last blue light. Below, the ocean becomes a place of pressure, silence, and pursuit. The deeper the giant falls, the more the Atlantic Ocean hides its true hunters from the fish above. To understand who truly rules this ocean, we must follow the hunters beyond the fish and into the dark. The hunters of the Atlantic Ocean do not always begin with speed. Sometimes they begin as silence beneath the fish. Every fish in this ocean is part of a chain, and every chain leads toward a predator. The bluefin tuna is built for the open ocean, a living engine shaped to chase fish across impossible distances. In the Atlantic Ocean, speed is not chaos. For a hunter, speed is control. When fish gather tightly in the sea, they are not only hiding, they are trying to become harder to read. One hunter leaves the fish shaken, but the Atlantic Ocean rarely sends only one threat.
The mako shark brings a different kind of danger to the ocean, built for explosive speed and precision.
For the fish, the sea becomes a maze. For the hunter, the ocean becomes a target. The fish survive the first burst of speed, but deeper in the ocean, another power is rising. Some hunters of the Atlantic Ocean do not need to rush. They rule the sea by presence alone. In the Atlantic Ocean, the fish can feel when a greater hunter enters the water beneath them. The great white is not just a predator of the sea. It is a symbol of control in the open ocean. Some hunters do not need to chase immediately. The ocean moves differently around them. The fish survive the shadow, but the Atlantic Ocean is a place where one danger often leads to another. Where the sea brightens, fish gather again, and where fish gather, the fastest hunters return. The bluefin tuna turns the ocean into a race, forcing every fish to choose direction in an instant. In this ocean, fear can turn fish into a sphere, a living shield against speed and hunger. The fish flee one circle of hunters, but the Atlantic Ocean has sharper weapons waiting in the blue. The fish escape the speed of tuna, but the Atlantic Ocean holds hunters shaped like weapons. The swordfish moves through the ocean like a blade, built to strike through the confusion of fish. In the Atlantic Ocean, some predators do not need size alone. They rule the sea with speed, timing, and precision. The fish change shape again, because in this ocean, survival depends on becoming unpredictable. But the Atlantic Ocean has hunters that do not move alone. Some turn the sea itself into a trap. Dolphins hunt with more than speed. In the ocean, intelligence can be as dangerous as teeth.
The fish are not simply being chased. They are being shaped by the hunters around them.
When fish gather in panic, the ocean can attract hunters from even farther away. The orca enters the Atlantic Ocean with a different authority, not just a hunter, but a strategist of the sea. The fish have crossed from speed into intelligence, and now the Atlantic Ocean is becoming a battlefield. In the Atlantic Ocean, the fish now move through a world where intelligence and power hunt together. The fish are not only running from teeth, they are running from decisions made in the sea around them. An orca does not need to rush. In this ocean, patience can be more dangerous than speed. The Atlantic Ocean becomes a trap when hunters understand how fish will move before they move. For a moment, the fish find a path through the ocean, but every escape leads them deeper. The silence after a hunt can be just as frightening as the chase itself. Below the fish, another kind of hunter enters the ocean, older, slower, and almost invisible. The six-gill shark belongs to the deeper Atlantic Ocean, where fish learn to fear what moves slowly from below. In the dark ocean, speed fades, and the fish face hunters shaped by patience and pressure. The Atlantic Ocean is leading the fish away from the fast hunters and toward the deep hunters waiting below. Down here, the ocean no longer belongs to speed alone. It belongs to endurance, silence, and pressure. The fish move along the edge of the ocean's darkness, where larger bodies wait beyond the last blue light. Something vast is moving below the fish, not chasing them, but pulling the whole ocean into suspense. At the edge of the deep ocean, the sperm whale appears again, a giant leaving the world of fish behind. Here, the ocean changes its hunters, its fish, and even the meaning of survival. Beyond the fish, beyond the fast hunters, the Atlantic Ocean hides a battle almost never seen. To follow the true giants of this ocean, we must leave the fish-filled hunting grounds and enter the abyss. Now the Atlantic Ocean enters its darkest chapter, where fish glow like stars and giants hunt by sound. The fish of this ocean do not rely on sunlight. Down here, light is made by living bodies. For the sperm whale, this ocean is not empty darkness. It is a map of echoes, fish, and hidden prey. The giant listens through the sea, searching beyond the fish for something larger hidden in the abyss. Here, every fish flash, every ripple, and every silence in the ocean can reveal where the next giant waits. The fish remain small points of light, but the whale is searching for a darkness that moves. In the deep Atlantic Ocean, the fish flee from light to darkness, but the whale follows something even stranger. This is no longer the fish-filled ocean of the upper layers. This is the hunting ground of giants. The first sign of the deep prey is not a full body, but a movement that disturbs every fish around it. The Atlantic Ocean has led us beyond the fish, into the place where the whale and the unknown finally meet. The Atlantic Ocean has brought the giant into a world where fish glow briefly, then vanish into darkness. In this ocean, the fish reveal the path of danger by how quickly their lights disappear. The whale listens through the sea, searching past the fish for a shape hidden beyond sight. The Atlantic Ocean does not give its secrets clearly. It shows a fish, a shadow, and then nothing. For a giant this large, the ocean is not a wall of darkness. It is a field of sound, fish, and pressure. Below the fish, another giant moves with a silence that belongs only to the deep ocean. The fish are now only witnesses,
tiny sparks around two forces shaped by the abyss.
The deeper this ocean becomes, the fewer fish remain, and the larger the silence grows.
At last, the unknown begins to take form, not as a fish, but as another giant of the ocean.
The Atlantic Ocean has narrowed to this moment, where fish lights fade and giants face the dark.
Here in the Atlantic Ocean, the fish become only sparks around a meeting of giants.
This is not a fish, and not a shadow. It is one of the ocean's most mysterious giants.
The whale follows through darkness, reading the ocean by pressure, sound, and the movement of fish.
In this sea, the battle is not seen clearly. It is felt in the way the fish scatter and the water trembles. At this depth, the ocean is no longer a place of speed. It is a place of endurance.
The fish cannot follow this chase for long. The ocean now belongs to the hunters of the abyss.
The Atlantic Ocean hides the final distance between predator and prey, leaving only fish lights and moving darkness.
Down here, every fish light fades quickly, but the giant continues into the deepest dark.
The Atlantic Ocean does not show every battle. Sometimes, it lets the fish return to darkness and keeps the giants for itself.
The Atlantic Ocean has swallowed the giants again, leaving only fish lights and the memory of movement in the dark.
Even when the giants disappear, the fish can still feel the ocean changing around them. In this part of the ocean, fish use light to speak, hide, and warn of things too large to see.
The fish reveal the trail first, then the sea gives a glimpse of the giant hiding beyond them. The Atlantic Ocean is not finished with this hunt, and the fish of the abyss are still watching from the dark. The Atlantic Ocean holds the hunt in darkness, while the fish of the abyss wait for what the giant will reveal.
In this sea, the prey does not run through open water. It disappears through darkness, pressure, and silence.
The fish see only fragments, but the whale follows the hidden shape through the ocean with ancient precision. At last, the Atlantic Ocean opens again, and the fish become witnesses to a giant facing another giant. The ocean hides the struggle in shadow, but the fish lights tremble around the force of it.
Nothing in this ocean is fully shown. The fish flash, the giants move, and the darkness keeps the answer. The hunt sinks beyond sight, leaving the fish to drift through a sea that still shakes with hidden power. The Atlantic Ocean does not always let us see who wins. Sometimes it leaves only fish, silence, and depth. Beyond the whale's hunt, the ocean becomes even stranger, filled with fish built for a world without sunlight. To understand the Atlantic Ocean's deepest rulers, we must leave the giants behind and enter the realm of monsters made of darkness. Now the Atlantic Ocean opens into its midnight realm, where fish no longer need sunlight to become visible. In this ocean, fish are shaped by darkness, pressure, hunger, and the need to disappear. The fangtooth fish looks like a nightmare of the Atlantic Ocean, yet it is perfectly made for this sea. Down here, the ocean rewards patience, and every fish waits for another fish to come too close. In the Atlantic Ocean's midnight zone, light is not safety. For many fish, light is a trap. Another fish waits in the ocean darkness, not chasing, not searching, only glowing. The anglerfish turns the ocean itself into an illusion, offering light where there is only hunger. The fish escape one light, but the Atlantic Ocean is filled with many kinds of darkness. In this part of the ocean, even a fish can become a monster when darkness changes its shape. The Atlantic Ocean changes the meaning of a fish, turning small bodies into hunters shaped by darkness.
In this ocean, survival does not always belong to the fastest fish, but to the strangest design.
Some fish of the Atlantic Ocean look impossible, yet every strange shape solves a problem of the deep sea. Down here, a fish may become transparent, hidden from the ocean above and the hunters below. The deeper the ocean becomes, the more each fish seems built from shadow, teeth, and light. The viperfish carries terror in a small body, proving the ocean does not need giants to create fear.
A single movement in the deep sea can scatter fish like stars shaken from the darkness.
The Atlantic Ocean is not only filled with fish and teeth, it is also filled with ghostly bodies drifting in silence. In this ocean, some creatures hunt by chasing fish, while others simply wait for the sea to bring life close.
Ahead, the Atlantic Ocean reveals a different kind of giant. Not a fish, not a whale, but a living chain in the dark. The Atlantic Ocean now reveals a giant unlike any fish, built not from one body, but from many lives joined together.
In this sea, even a creature thinner than a thread can become one of the longest hunters in the ocean.
The fish know to keep distance, because in the Atlantic Ocean, beauty can hide a silent trap.
The ocean does not end with one strange form. It continues, layer after layer, into designs beyond imagination. Another shape rises from the Atlantic Ocean darkness. Not a fish, not a monster, but something perfectly made for the deep. In this ocean, survival can mean becoming soft, dark, silent, and almost impossible for fish to understand. The fish move through an ocean where color is rare, and every flash can mean warning, hunger, reorganization disguise. Some fish of the Atlantic Ocean survive by becoming mirrors, reflecting the last traces of light back into darkness. Even among glowing fish, the ocean keeps predators below, waiting where the light becomes weakest. The Atlantic Ocean is still hiding something larger beyond the fish, and the midnight zone is not finished revealing its rulers.
The Atlantic Ocean hides its largest mysteries behind the smallest fish lights.
In this ocean, not every giant has bones, teeth, or speed. Some rule by drifting silently through the dark. The deep sea can create a giant as fragile as glass, yet powerful enough to shape the movement of fish around it.
Around this ghost of the Atlantic Ocean, the fish move carefully, as if the sea itself has become alive. The fish leave one ghost behind, but the Atlantic Ocean continues to build stranger shapes in the darkness ahead. Some fish in the deep ocean survive by becoming almost unreal, stretched thin by darkness and pressure. In the Atlantic Ocean, even a fish can look like a myth when the sea removes all familiar shapes.
The fish move toward a deeper warning, where the ocean begins to glow in colors few creatures can see. The Atlantic Ocean uses light as language, but for the fish, that language can mean danger.
The fish have crossed a world of monsters, but the Atlantic Ocean still have one deeper darkness waiting ahead. The Atlantic Ocean has led the fish beyond strange bodies, glowing traps, and silent hunters, but the darkness ahead feels heavier.
In this part of the ocean, even the fish move, as if the water itself has weight.
Below the fish, something older than speed waits in the pressure of the Atlantic Ocean. The fish do not need to see the whole body to know the ocean has changed again. Here, the Atlantic Ocean no longer belongs to bright lures and tiny fish alone. It belongs to bodies made for pressure.
Some rulers of the deep ocean do not chase fish quickly. They endure longer than the sea seems willing to reveal. At the bottom edge of the Atlantic Ocean, fish must survive where food is rare and pressure never releases. This is where the ocean becomes a world of patience, where fish, Giants and shadows move by different rules. This is the Atlantic Ocean under pressure, where every fish moves slowly because the sea itself has become heavy. Down here, the ocean gives little light, little warmth, and only rare chances for fish to feed. The fish of this ocean live in a world where patience is not a choice, but a law. Above them, fish still glow in the darkness, but here on the ocean floor, survival becomes slower and older. In the Atlantic Ocean, the deepest places do not look alive at first, until the fish reveal movement in the dark. The fish sense a presence before it is fully seen, a slow force moving where the ocean is coldest. The Greenland shark is one of the Atlantic Ocean's ancient giants, moving beneath the fish with a patience measured in centuries. This giant does not need speed to rule the ocean. It survives by enduring longer than the fish around it can imagine. When the ancient shark disappears, the fish move again, but the ocean floor still feels changed by its passing. The fish now lead us deeper across the Atlantic Ocean floor, toward a place where death becomes food and giants return from the dark. On the Atlantic Ocean floor, the fish do not follow light. They follow the faint signs of food in the darkness. Here, the ocean wastes nothing. What falls from above becomes life for fish and creatures below. The Atlantic Ocean carries the bodies of giants downward, and even in darkness, the fish know when a feast has arrived. A fallen whale becomes an island of life in the deep ocean, feeding fish and strangers of the sea for years. Around these bones, the fish survive on what the ocean has delivered from a world far above. Where fish gather in the deep Atlantic Ocean, larger shadows are never far behind. The Greenland shark returns to the ocean floor like a memory of an older sea. It does not rush the fish. It simply moves through the ocean as if time belongs to it. The fish return to the remains, but the Atlantic Ocean floor is still leading us toward deeper, ancient shadows. The fish move away from the fallen giant, but the Atlantic Ocean floor still carries the weight of ancient life. In this ocean, fish survive by staying close to stone, where darkness gives them cover and pressure gives them silence. Above, fish still glow in the black water, but here below, the ocean belongs to creatures that barely need light. The Atlantic Ocean hides fish inside the rocks, waiting for the current to bring food close enough. Even in the coldest ocean, strange heat can rise from below and draw fish toward a different world. Here, the Atlantic Ocean breathes through the seafloor, and the fish gather where darkness becomes energy. This ocean does not depend only on sunlight. Down here, life can begin where the seafloor itself releases heat. Around these vents, fish and small creatures survive in a place that should feel impossible. Where the fish gather around heat, the Atlantic Ocean may bring larger bodies from the dark. The fish have found warmth in the cold ocean, but beyond the vents, another ancient shadow waits. Beyond the warmth of the vents, the Atlantic Ocean brings back the feeling of something ancient moving beneath the fish. The fish leave the heat behind, but the ocean floor ahead carries a colder and older presence. The six-gill shark moves through the Atlantic Ocean like a relic, older in design than the fish that scatter around it. At this depth, power is not always speed. In the ocean, power can be patience that never ends. The fish follow the slope because the Atlantic Ocean floor is a map written in darkness, food, and pressure. Above, fish still carry light through the ocean. Below, the ancient hunters move without needing to be seen. Every fish here survives by reading the smallest signs: a falling particle, a moving shadow, a change in the sea. The Atlantic Ocean floor looks empty only from far away. The fish reveal that every shadow may be alive,
The fish slow down again, because something larger than the sixth gill is waiting across the ocean floor. The Atlantic Ocean is still guiding the fish forward, toward a giant shape hidden in the coldest darkness. The fish have led us across the Atlantic Ocean floor, toward a shape too large to understand at first. In the deep ocean, even the fall of a giant becomes a kingdom for fish and life hidden in darkness. Here, the Atlantic Ocean turns death into shelter, food, and survival for fish that may never see the sun. Where fish gather around a fallen giant, the ocean often calls another giant from the dark. The fish rise from the bones as the Atlantic Ocean shifts around a body moving with ancient weight. The Greenland shark returns as one of the ocean's oldest rulers, passing the fish with silence older than storms. This shark does not command the ocean through force alone, but through endurance that outlives generations of fish. The Atlantic Ocean floor is not empty. It is slow life, hidden fish, ancient hunters, and pressure without mercy. From the fish on the ocean floor to the giants above, every layer of the Atlantic is connected. To understand who truly rules this ocean, we must rise through every layer. To understand who truly rules this ocean, we must see how the fish, the hunters, and the giants are bound together. The Atlantic Ocean is not one world, but many worlds stacked above each other, all connected by moving fish. Fish carry energy upward and downward through the ocean, linking the abyss to the open sea. Every predator in the Atlantic Ocean follows the movement of fish, because fish are the pulse of the sea. Some rulers of the ocean command through speed, turning fish-filled water into a test of reaction and endurance. Above the hunters, the ocean opens again, and the giants of breath return to the world of light. The humpback does not rule the fish by fear alone, but by scale, intelligence, and the rhythm of the ocean. The sperm whale returns from the dark ocean, carrying the mystery of depths where the fish could not follow. From the Black Sea to the Blue Sea, the Atlantic Ocean is held together by movement, hunger, memory, and fish. The true rulers of this ocean are not separated by depth. They are connected by the fish, the currents, and the endless Atlantic Sea. The Atlantic Ocean is not ruled by one giant alone, but by every movement that connects fish, hunters, and depth. Where the fish turn, the hunters follow, and where the hunters move, the ocean reveals its hidden order. The tuna rules through motion, turning the fish-filled ocean into a living test of speed and timing. Other rulers of the Atlantic Ocean do not need to race the fish. They command the sea by presence. A shark beneath the fish changes the shape of the water, even when it does not strike. Above the hunters, the ocean carries giants that move not with violence, but with memory and grace. The humpback reminds us that the rulers of the ocean are not only feared, they are also ancient travelers of the sea. Then the Atlantic Ocean reveals a ruler whose power is not in teeth, but in impossible scale.
In the Atlantic Ocean, the smallest fish and the greatest giant are carried by the same current. The blue whale shows the Atlantic Ocean at its greatest scale, where fish and giants move through the same living water. Even when the peaceful giant passes, the fish still move above hunters hidden in the darker ocean below. From the deep ocean, the sperm whale returns, carrying the silence of the abyss into the world of fish. This giant connects two oceans, the Black Sea below and the Blue Sea, where fish gather in light.
The Atlantic Ocean is ruled not by one creature, but by the connection between fish, giants, and depth.
When fish gather in great numbers, the ocean becomes a moving signal that every hunter can read. The fish carry life across the Atlantic Ocean, feeding speed above, patience below, and giants across every layer.
From the ocean floor to the sunlit sea, every fish movement helps hold this wild world together. The Atlantic Ocean may look calmer near the light, but the fish still carry the memory of every shadow below. The true power of the Atlantic Ocean is not only in its terrifying giants, but in the fish-filled sea that connects them all. The Atlantic Ocean is a kingdom held together by fish, where every giant depends on the movement of smaller life. Some giants move through the ocean with grace, others with speed, but all are tied to the fish-filled currents. The fish move through layers of light and shadow, carrying the energy of the Atlantic Ocean from one ruler to another. Even near the surface, the fish are connected to the abyss, because the ocean never separates its worlds completely. The Atlantic Ocean is not ruled from the top or the bottom, but through every layer where fish and hunters meet. The fish do not need to understand the whole ocean. They survive by feeling its changes before they arrive. A school of fish can become a shield, a signal, and a living river across the Atlantic Sea. Together, these giants do not simply dominate the ocean. They keep its hidden balance in motion. The largest giant and the smallest fish share the same water, the same current, and the same fragile Atlantic world. This is the wild Atlantic Ocean. Terrifying, beautiful, and alive, because every fish and no ruler of this ocean stands alone. Every giant depends on fish, current, darkness, and distance. The fish connect the breathing giants above with the hunters that vanish into the Black Sea below. From light to darkness, the Atlantic Ocean is one connected body, and the fish move through it like its pulse. This is the hidden order of the ocean. Fish gather, hunters follow, giants travel, and life continues. The terrifying giants of the Atlantic Ocean do not destroy this world. They help shape its balance. Every fish, every hunter, and every giant belongs to a sea older and larger than any single life. The Atlantic Ocean keys its secrets beneath the waves, but the fish reveal that everything here is connected. We have crossed the ocean from light to darkness, following fish into the realm of giants, monsters, pressure, and survival.